Good morning, everybody. How's it going? We got Noah, Tom Struck, Mark, Violet, what's up? Jason, Oscar, Tamale, Paper Planes, Tim Doing, Hypnotoad. I think you're new here, man. Or Andrew, what's up? Yeah, let's check it out. Yesterday I gave out a signal on a descending double bottom breakout into the valley area right here. We had a little bit of a pullback as soon as we came in from during the VWAP reset, which is pretty darn common. And then we started off relatively strong, had a pullback. And depending on, I gave a signal for a stop loss being here, but I did, as soon as I jumped in, I notified everyone that I've started it right here, and it looks like we got stopped out, and now we're almost at our target. So a bit of a bummer, but it happens. The stop loss guard wasn't as strong as I thought it was, and we basically came down to revisit the 786 gold pocket level and started to run back up. Now there is, last night before I went to bed, there was a sell wall here for 400 Bitcoin. I don't know if it's still there, but if anyone were to jump back into their trade, or if they had their stop loss set to the original location, then let's take a look, see if there's a threat here in case you have to prepare for a potential opposing change of character. And if we get that, then might need to close the trade early. But if not, I would keep it running potentially to 109.7. Let's delete this. Okay, look at the order books here. I close some of these tabs. All right, I do see some sell wall still, so there might be sell wall still in the same spot. It's for 600 Bitcoin, roughly, or 500, give or take. So there's still a sell wall there. So you gotta prepare for it to act as a form of resistance. Basically, all those orders have to fill in order for us to get through that area. It's impossible for the price to go past here without those orders all filling first. So there's likely going to be some sell pressure here a little bit. So just prepare about 500 Bitcoin. 500 Bitcoin is usually one or two taps, and then we get through it. But it all depends on the volume at the time. If the volume's low, it could act as horizontal resistance, similar to what you're seeing right here. So we gotta prepare that it could cause it to go range bound again, just like what we had over here. But yeah, so if we get through this, then I'd be targeting around the point of control. We do have some downtrending momentum from the new all-time high that we haven't fully validated yet, but we can validate and find out if there are sellers waiting here. So we'll go back to the order books really quick. So we have a sell wall at 109.290 and 109.490. So 290 and 490. Okay, it's a little bit of an undercut to the trend line. Pretty much just above where our target, just below where our target is, there's a wall here. And just right at where our target is, there's a sell wall there. So yeah, there's a couple of walls throughout this that's going to potentially prevent our target from being hit. So we just got to prepare for us to go range bound against that while we fight against those sell walls. Or if it's too strong, it could induce a change of character that could bring us right back down to the valley area low. We can update our fixed range volume profile. So let's do that. Okay, nothing really changed. What's up? Me? All good? I'm just tired, man. I had barely any sleep. But yeah, I'm good, man. What if we tap the cell wall and die? Yeah, that's possible. I've seen it happen before. The last big cell wall we dealt with was up here. We had a cell wall right here. Well, this one was 3,000 Bitcoin though, so that one was like, yeah, we're not going past that. Yeah, we had a massive cell wall right there. I don't think we dealt with any like real critical cell walls or buy walls throughout this, other until roughly around here where it became a lot more critical. Yeah, we could tap it and die. But I think that if we look at the buy orders to see if there's any like squeeze that could be happening where we might see it go range bound again over here. Yeah, there's barely any confidence in the buyer side. So yeah, it's possible that we could just tap it and die. But yeah, so we'll just wait for the opposing change of character if that were to happen, and then I'll listen to the warning sign. Yeah, that's Bitcoin. So we just gotta, basically we're aiming for a rotation to the opposite side of the value area. If we don't get it because of this, then we can wait for another potential like long setup down these areas. We could prepare for potential SFP structures. I'll come back down here. We do have $1 billion worth of liquidity in this like zone over here. It all starts at 106,349. So just, yeah, watch out around this zone. Could induce a really strong reversal. But yeah, if we were to come back down, we could come down and grab this stuff before running back up. But yeah, what do you guys want to look at? I see you haven't extended the fixed range volume profile. Oh no, I extended it. That's just because I was asleep. That's the only reason why I didn't extend it. When I woke up, and I usually do like an hour-long health routine, but this morning I just like, yeah, I was tired, man. So I just went straight to the live and updated everything with you guys. But yeah, what do you guys want to look at? We kind of know what's going on with Bitcoin, and we can use the confluence of that to prepare for what we could expect with altcoin setups. So a short at would be good. Well, if there's structural confirmation, yeah. Just because we know there's a sell wall doesn't mean we're going to be reversing here. So you can't just assume that we are going to reverse in case volume picks up strong enough that we can break through that. I'm not expecting anything like that until maybe around like 9:30, so about an hour and 15 minutes from now. But yeah, you can't ever assume just because there's sell walls anywhere that it will actually be respected as resistance if there's enough buyers to break through it. It's not going to be, I'm not counting on it, but yeah, I just don't want anyone to have any bad habits of just using the order books to just ape into trades. The good thing about order books is that it's raw data. Like it's not good, like it's gonna, it's not like a trend line where you've got to like cross your fingers and hope, right? It's data that's literally showing you that there are sellers there, but those sellers could pull their orders, or the volume could pick up strong enough where it can break through it. So you always got to prepare and wait for the actual structural confirmation and not just bank on the order books. Are you personally looking to short anything now or today? I would short if the R&R is good enough around, yeah, I'll be preparing for shorts here. If we end up making it to this level, this is where I'd refer to short. Even if I know it's going to come down here, I may not short it if the R&R isn't good enough for me to want to take it. So it depends on what the risk to reward ratio is. But yeah, we can let's look at Forex Factory really quick. When this tab wants to load, there we go. I'm gonna close some of these tabs because I got like 500 open. Okay. Oh, wants to load. There we go. Today's the 29th. And yeah, today we've got unemployment claims expected around 227. Let's see how that goes. And we got tomorrow. We got core PCE price index month over month. Yeah, so unemployment claims could cause price action to be a little bit wonky depending on how it impacts the DXY, and the inverse correlation will cause Bitcoin to move pretty much the opposite to it. So prepare for unemployment to potentially impact the DXY, and then that have an inverse correlation effect on Bitcoin. But yeah. Solana, please. Yeah, all right, cool. Let's start looking at some assets here for you guys. The first request was TRB from Dave Cryptic. So I doubt we have a TRB chart. Yeah, we do not, but we can look it up. Let's go to Binance. Oh, wow, okay, very nice. Looks like TRB got out of its, have a little, a lot of assets are fighting between the 200 and the 50 EMA, and TRB finally broke out of that. Oh, haven't done TA in a long time on TRB. It looks like the last time was around February. It was for a long, it looks like to the opposite side of the valley area. Baking on the break of this key level to target the value area high. And got there and then started a downtrend ever since. So we delete that. We don't really need that anymore. All right. If we zoom out, right now TRB is combating the downtrending level of resistance here on the daily. So we're basically breaking a macro, potentially breaking a macro descending channel that's been weighing it down for over 522 days. That's crazy. But we can see that we came down to your previous core area of interest. We got a inverse head and shoulders off of it. Held the 50-day EMA at support. Got a really aggressive daily break of structure. And we held off here. I saw that there was like a low time frame bull pennant right here. And now we're, kind of dancing on that macro daily resistance here. So I'd be waiting for more structure to prepare potentially for a really good short. Like when we're at that macro resistance and come up as aggressively as we did, there's a good opportunity that we can get there's a good chance that we could probably get a correction that's going to be almost equally as aggressive, to be honest. I would mark this range bound price action here. Grab this value area data. We can actually pull it until we got the escape right here. There we go. So if we do confirm a reversal here, we just got to wait for more structure. All we really have to go off of is this low, but we have a demand zone right here that could hold it off. So if we break this low, we could fall down here and potentially go range bound for a larger structure to define a continuation or to define a reversal. And if we do get the reversal, we got this value area data here to help us prepare for a potential support bounce off the value area high, right? And if we get acceptance into here, then you can extend your target to the value area low. But we don't have a picture exactly painted just yet for something like that. all we got is this 15-minute structure where we got the, honestly, it's more like 5-minute structure. We're not here. Yeah, we're not here for very long. So we didn't really get a proper pullback on the 15. So right here, we got the change of character occurrence when we wick down. So on the 5-minute, we're technically bearish already. And we just don't have enough structure to define anything in any other time frames. And this here, like I said, little macro demand zone, demand zone. So if we end up falling back down, just prepare potentially for this to act as a form of support, or just prepare for it to slow down here to help potentially define a continuation. And we do have VWAP confluence here, so if it does fall down here, just prepare for a potential bounce. There we go, template. All right, that's TRB. I hope that helps you out. Just a little more time before defining anything safe. What else do we have in the chat? We have the next request was, of course, it was WIF. Okay, 1 sec. Let's find WIF Binance here. We got going on. Okay, so last thing we drew, we didn't draw any key levels, just this demand zone and this falling descending channel here, similar to what we're seeing with TRB, except in a much more micro scale. So we got that break. We hit our core area of interest alongside with the downtrending macro momentum here. Let's zoom out to see where we got that white trend line really quick. From the most recent highs here. Oh, I think it's like the all-time high too. So from 486, we've had quite a bit of negative space from evolving momentum, like down here, right? Then our most recent core area of interest that we want to have broken on the daily was up here. We broke that. Then we were kind of getting squeezed between the 200 and the 50-day EMA. But yeah, we just tapped that downtrending momentum, so we got to prepare potentially for a rotation back down. But you know, could get that continuation. But let's see what we have in lower time frames. We could pull, yeah, two separate. And we just, I mean, every time we tap this value area high alongside with the 200 EMA, we get a pretty harsh rejection off of WIF. What is that range? About 7%. Okay. So not very much like reactional time for getting into shorts. Like they're not giving you very much structure to define your entries. So the safer side looks like if you want to prepare for anything, you should be focusing on longs and then just limit ordering your exit out. At least if it's going to keep behaving like that. It seems to be like that all the time. We get these crazy pumps, really fast drops, but slow climbs up. So I'll just use your market structure to find a good time of entry for your longs at the valley area, low area. So we're coming close to, think of this as like your your discount zone, and you're preparing to sell it into premium. Like down here is where you should be preparing for potential longs, and then wait for that change of character occurrence, target here, but just target there with a limit order exit, or else you're not likely going to be able to get out. And because it's WIF, make sure when you're setting up your limit orders, that you do not have, it's called post only. It's a setting inside your exchange. What this does, it's usually set up there on your exchange by default, but what happens in the background is it's putting your trade in the order books, and it will only execute your trade as a limit order. So if there's a queue, let's say there's like 200 people here trying to sell already, and then you decide to set your limit order, those 200 people will need to have their orders filled first before yours is filled if you put yours in like later. So when you have post only turned on, it's going to make it so that it will only close as a limit order. But if you have it turned off instead, what will happen is if it hits your order and starts to deviate away, it will close your position as a market order, so that you kind of can guarantee your position to be exited, and you won't be upset with yourself if your whole order doesn't fill, or if it doesn't fill at all when it actually hits your order and it comes right back down. So I'd turn post only off if you're going to be trading something like that. Just letting you guys know. But yeah, that's WIF, and we went over TRB. We know what we're preparing for with Bitcoin. What's next? What do we have in the chat? Did not notice your long post yesterday. Nice call. Thanks, man. I think I got stopped out. I haven't even checked my exchange yet to see if I actually got stopped out. But I'm pretty sure I did. Good morning, Sui. What's B3? I don't know if there's ARB. Is B3 an actual ticker? Like, I haven't heard of that. Okay. I'm trying to remember if I've ever seen a number in a ticker before that wasn't a scam. Oh, let's see. So B3, I don't know what this is, but yeah, since its creation, but since it's been listed on Bybit, it's been on a pretty big downtrend, likely from an ICO event. Like, they basically just issued out too much funds without pairing liquidity properly with the amount that they gave out, which is 99% of the time. We just got our 50-day EMA populated. We've got 3 core value areas that we can pull on the 4-hour from here to here. Here to here until the moment we exited. And up here. All right, and we are coming back down to this previous value area here. So we want to mark your value area high, your point of control, your value area low, all that fun stuff. Control, click, drag. There we go. Previous point control and previous value area low. All right, so we left this value area here pretty aggressively, and we're now at this value area, this previous value area high here, and we're starting to get potential acceptance into the value area. Let's zoom in on the lower time frames here to hourly. Yeah, so if we get a break structure here, which we are pretty close to getting one on like the 15-minute. Right now we're looking on the hourly, but we got the pullback on the 15-minute, and we're about to get potential lower low. And if we do, we could end up getting a full rotation down to the value area low again. But we have to watch this area of interest here. We got a relatively decently strong point of control, so that could hold off as support and, you know, force it to go range bound between the value area high. But yeah, if we break that point of control, we could then very easily get that rotation down to the value area low. So just watch out for potential continuations on this. If you think we're at a good price now, we could get at a better one if you're trying to accumulate this asset. And just make sure you obviously wait for that opposing change of character, or else you might see it lower than it's ever been before. right? So like a lot of alts have been kind of unpredictable in terms of like sustainability. So make sure you're waiting to try to get in on a position of strength, and you're not just defining it based on what kind of price you're trying to get after, or else you could just keep buying it as it goes down in a forever downtrend. Like macro wise, this thing's not looking very healthy, so just be very careful. Like I said, I don't know anything about it, but the candlesticks are telling me it's not doing great, and where we could potentially have that continuation down for a new like all-time low. Back to Bitcoin, rotate back 10 to 15. Yeah, saw it. Bitcoin's still just chilling. Got this little demand zone here that could hold us off. So let's see if we can bounce off this and try to fight that sell wall. Solana was the other request. Okay. We got a Solana chart already open on my tabs. So let's pull that up. We were looking at, okay, we have this more macro pull here. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so yeah, we broke. Oh yeah, right. We had this momentum guide here. Let's update the point. Let's update the fixed range here for Solana. So the value area low kind of updated to our most recent support bounce. Okay. Yeah, we had some like killer short opportunities with Solana recently. Now, yeah, the long would have been, it looks kind of similar to Bitcoin actually when we were preparing for our long, right? You had the ascending double bottom. This support is not as aggressive as Bitcoin's, but it did hold true to that wick when we came down, like just like we did with Bitcoin here. We held true to the momentum on Solana, whereas Bitcoin did not, right? So it was a little bit more reliable with this momentum to help as a guard for your stop loss. And right now we're fighting against the VWAP. It does has a little bit of relative weakness against Bitcoin because when Bitcoin pulled back, we got higher highs. Whereas Solana, when it pulled back, it still is yet to get a higher high. So it's getting its butt kicked right now by the VWAP. So it's showing relative weakness against Bitcoin. But yeah, so we just need to hopefully get back above that VWAP, take out this high in order for us to have a continuation to the value area high up here. If we get that continuation to the value area high, I'd be preparing for shorts up here again. Solana's been really good to us when it comes to giving us like really solid SFPs up at these highs. So hopefully we get something like that again up here and short it back down. But again, like if we fail, if we lose the point of control of support, lose this momentum, we can prepare for longs down here again. But anything inside of this, especially right with Solana, it's a really good example of where not to trade. Like being right beside a point of control like this and the VWAP being right in your face, it would have been kind of frustrating to try to, it's not a very safe place to trade. That's all I'm trying to say. R&R in both directions are likely not going to be great when you're trading near a magnet. Going back up. Okay, so that's Solana. Ethereum, can you please raise your mic a bit? Yeah. I think it's more so my voice than the mic itself. Let's see. Check, 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 check. I don't know if that's better or worse. I can move it up in the OBS settings. Okay, so yeah, we went through Ethereum. Went through, oh no, we didn't go through Ethereum. Let's pull that up. I saw last night that Ethereum had relative strength. Let's see, yeah, big time. Okay. Yeah, so down here is pretty much roughly where we would prepare for the long on Bitcoin. And yeah, now we're way up at the a previous value area high. We just hit that. We are holding this previous value area high as potential support. We can just update this to the point of confirmation of exit right here. We can pull a fixed range from where we currently are. Include our little demand zone here. Where is my... There we go. We got this little demand zone here. Send this to back. The candles are kind of blocky. I'm using Bitstamp right now. Let's zoom out though. I want to see where this previous value high came from. Okay, so oh yeah, right. Okay, we were talking about this yesterday. How if we did get that breakout, rotation could just bring us back to this high where we can prepare for the resistance. Yeah, so we were talking about that yesterday during yesterday's live, where if we did get that proper acceptance into this previous value area, because we kind of been like failing to get acceptance into it each time. But here we can see like on the lower time frames, we got that break of structure form of acceptance into that value area. And now we got that rotation back up. So I'll be preparing for, yeah, a potential correction here. We already inside this daily, we're already looking like there's resistance. So in the lower time frames, we could confirm it to drop down further. Let's see if we go range bound here to find more structure for short, but like we don't want to break this demand zone, because if we do, then we get acceptance back inside this previous value area here, and then we just rotate right back down to where we started. So this value area low in confluence with the uptrending momentum here would be a core area of interest if you were to jump into shorts, where you have to watch out for potential reversals. But yeah, structurally this is what I would wish to see if I were to jump into a short based on the current price action. I don't like the current price action, but if we were to use the current price action, we'd want to have a break, retest, then lower low. Use the retest as your stop loss guard and target down here. There might be a better opportunity than this, but based on what we have, that's what I would prepare for. If we came up back to the value area high, that would be a better spot to prepare for shorts, because then you can front run an event like that and get much better and safer risk to reward ratio. Well, that's Ethereum. Go back to Bitcoin. We came up, yeah, we hit basically our internal downtrending momentum, and now we're about to get a break of structure. We're still coming back down to this demand zone. Okay, it's all built on base. Thanks for checking it out. Oh, B3 is built on base. Cool. We're just talking about base. We're looking at liquidity pools on it for like passive income opportunities. Let's see, we're getting a pretty aggressive candle here. It's a 5 minutes, so nothing crazy, but yeah, so let's see if we get that reversal off this demand zone here. ARB, have we gone over ARB already? And CRV. I feel like we went over ARB already, but let's double check. Go on Binance. Oh, I remember last time we looked at it. Yeah, so with ARB, what we were hoping for before was, since we're coming back down to this demand zone, we're tapping it. We wanted to have it come back up and break this level for like a reversal back up to these highs. But instead, it never confirmed, so it prevented you from taking a bad trade. So it came down and held it as support, and then, yeah, bounced off the 50-day EMA, and then we broke out. And now we're kind of going range bound, fighting against a double bottom neckline, while we're getting squeezed between the 50 and the 200-day EMA. We're coming back down to... So here is technically its own like valley area here, right? And we have internal valley areas as well. So I'm going to pull a more macro one here. But we have a internal one here as well that we can watch. But realistically, we won't need this data because we can get that volume shelf data like right here. We can see where this area of interest kind of begins and where it ends right here, giving us the same kind of core areas of interest from this value area pull. But it does make it a little bit more visually friendly to prepare for potential reversals. But yeah, we're getting acceptance back inside this more macro value area here. And we didn't really getting a change of character or anything like that on the hourly. Look at the 15. Now the 15-minute change of character occurrence here that we just got here. So the 15 minutes bearish. The hourly is still yet to confirm bearish, but it's pretty much there. We got potential. Once we potentially get like a break structure, like proper acceptance into the zone, prepare for potential support here. Like that might be what induces that bounce for a break structure continuation. But then we can get that rotation down to the value area low alongside with the 50-day EMA. So like ARB is looking kind of bearish. Like its positioning is bearish. But if we manage to hold this as support and we come back up this value area to this value area high, we could confirm basically breaking through this buy side liquidity to help pump it up. I think that's usually how that's how double bottoms are basically formed, right? We induce liquidity here and allows more buyers or sellers to come in with the least amount of slippage, and it usually helps drive the price back up from that accumulation. And right now, yeah, we are failing to get that proper break. So we might just go range bound here. So if once we get that proper acceptance, we're already getting candles closed inside here, so we just need that break of structure. Then just prepare for a potential rotation down while watching out for the point control along the way down at like 0.4, 40.3 cents kind of thing. But that's ARB. Let's go back to the Bitcoin chart, see how it's developing here. We might get that change character early. So we break this low here. Like our probability of even coming back up to test this is going to be dramatically reduced. So let's see what happens. But we're really, really close to like invalidating the ability to potentially come back up here. It seems like everyone's undercutting the sell wall. Like they're getting it before it can get filled. So we went through Ethereum, ARB, B3, Solana. We went through Bitcoin, CRV and SUI. Let's pull up CRV. I think that was the first request. Curve. It's got some unique tokenomics. Curve is looking a lot like ARB, except it's kind of leading the race to the drop. Right, we had this potential. We would fractalize a lot. Like we've built a larger potential double bottom here, right? We just recently failed, just like ARB did, to try to break that neckline. We fractalized with a double bottom here. We fractalized with a double bottom here. Double bottom, showing lots of signs of accumulation. But when it comes to getting back up to these highs again, we keep failing. We just double topped, even lost the little local demand zone right here off the POC. So if I were preparing for anything with CRV, it would be to prepare for a long back down at these lows. Wait for that. Like, look at this behavior. It's a pretty beginner-friendly trading behavior. So just wait for the double bottom structure and get that. Hopefully it's like a descending double bottom, so it's a little easier to detect a change of character occurrence, right? And then once you get that acceptance in the value area and confidence with that, you can target the value area high again, while being, again, mindful of the point of control along the way. But yeah, I'll be preparing for longs. So we got previous value high, value low here. I'm curious what that came from. Okay, I see. It's from two different zones of interest. We can delete this. So we have this previous macro value area here. It's kind of having quite a bit of control over the price. That's about 750 days old. So that makes sense. And yeah, the last little thing that we want to have broken for like a rotation up to the macro value area, from the value area low to the value area high. So we saw like there was an earlier entry here that you could have taken. There was an SFP here you could have taken, but there was the continuation. It was right here. And when we broke the inverse head and shoulders, we got the continuation to target the value area high again. The momentum-based target was probably pretty close, a little bit over that, but yeah, so you'd end up targeting here, but being mindful of the value area high along the way up. So we have macro confluence of resistance here. So lots of reasoning to actually drop. So this time around, you gotta, always gotta prepare for the glass floor to kind of break in a scenario like that. But we have this uptrending momentum here. You can watch. So if we come back down and we get a break of structure and lower low, like pass this momentum out of the value area, then you can prepare for a rotation down to at least the 50 EMA. And if that breaks, you can expect a stronger rotation down. But that's CRV. These are honestly levels that investors will plan on exiting. Like, not just the traders are doing the short-term game, but investors will look at this zone and think of an area, like a potential zone of like this, to prepare to exit their more macro positions or start to scale out. Okay. SUI. Okay, SUI is the next request. We've got a SUI chart. SUI's been like all over the place lately. Let's see where it's at today. Okay, so the last thing we were looking at was potential short. Yeah. So we're watching this zone here that if broken, we could have a correction. We'd be looking at it as a double top. So from the support, or from the resistance to the support, Your momentum-based target would be down here, where you expect momentum to start to slow down, and that's exactly what happened. We started forming a double bottom at this level, broke a neckline. We got like a descending double bottom, lower side wick on the candle prior to it, but yeah, we got descending double bottom, broke the key level, and then we started having a rotation back up, hit the same level of interest here at 372 as resistance. Let me just change that. Not sure why I have a blue line there. Let's just local resistance. So we can delete this. We don't need this anymore. Where's that value area high coming from? Okay, so we're kind of behaving off of, oh yeah, we were talking about this yesterday too. We get that bounce off the confluence of a previous value area high and a value area low here. And this was our area of interest to prepare for potential shorts. And that's what's kind of like happening now. And we got the previous value area low right here, where we want to see acceptance inside this value area. Because if we got acceptance in this value area, we could much more likely get a rotation back up here at 403. So we're kind of updating ourselves right now that we might be failing that proper acceptance that we really wanted to have for that continuation for anyone who may have jumped in down here, right? So we're banking on the structure, the lower time frame structure, to be able to like break through this and get above and hold it as support. But right now, yeah, we're fighting against that local resistance. We got very close to it here, but yeah, we never got that break of structure within it. But once we do, then we get a really good strong move to the upside. But for now, things are looking super weak. Here's our uptrending momentum that we can watch. Our key level is super low. It's way down here. Well, we want more structure to define a better level of interest. So hopefully we pump back up. Maybe we can prepare for an SFP around 372, right? Grab the liquidity from this high. So you can mark the wick right here, get your, right? And basically where I have my red line right now, that's the area that we want to have that confirmation for your SFP. So we come up, and then the very same candle that we come up and grab that liquidity, we need to have that candle close back inside the active range, and then we can start targeting the local lows. So let's pretend that this is going to be the local low here, right? So if we SFP here, we have to watch this as our core barrier. But if we break that and get that continuation, that would induce a change of character occurrence simultaneously, loss of momentum, and we can get a rotation down to this previous value area low here. And maybe even further, but that was where you gotta take it one step at a time, one barrier at a time, right? When you're in those kind of trades. So you're not married to your trade. Because if there's something that opposes against you, you can, depending on how far away you are from your entry, you can decide whether or not you want to listen to it and use it as a tool to know when to take profits. But yeah, it's just a waiting game. So I would set an alarm if I was preparing for this SFP. I would set an alarm for 372.07. So that's when you're looking at the charts to prepare for that potential SFP. And if you're in an existing long position, then you'd hope that it just breaks through this and we find that support inside this previous value low at 376. But yeah, looking good so far. Yeah, just need more structure for SUI. Now Bitcoin getting that hopeful bounce here. We don't want it to break below this area here, or else we could fall right down to the VWAP. So I'll mark that level actually right now. We do not want to break this. If we get a full body candle close below that, Bitcoin's going to come right back down. Let's look at the sell wall, see how they're updating. It's getting close to 9, so yeah, they're still there. And they're bigger. Yeah, it's getting closer to 600 Bitcoin now for the sell wall. So there's other trade participants like adding to it. Okay, all right. We've gone through quite a bit. CRV, SUI, Ethereum, ARB, B3, whatever B3 is. We got another request for AVAX and virtual. We got both those tabs open, so let's just click on them. Once my computer can handle it. We got a lot of tabs. What were we looking at recently for it? We're looking at, okay, a short. What's the recent thing that we're looking at? I got my virtual memory on my computer can barely handle the amount of tabs that I have open, because you guys are seeing like maybe, oh no, you can't even see my tabs. I have them hidden on. But yeah, I got a lot of tabs on multiple monitors, so I gotta fix that. But anyways, yeah, so we were looking at this short here. Prior to that was the falling wedge. We needed to have this broken in order for us to have a position of strength in the falling wedge to hit our target, which was also the previous value area high of this core area of interest. So now we don't need this anymore. We delete that. And then we were looking at a short on the 25th here. After that, it must be a lower time frame level, or it wasn't updated, right? Okay, so we had a better key area of interest right here when we got this break of structure higher high. This became a good strong low. So when that broke, you barely had time, unless you were to front run it, to short that because of how aggressive that candle was. But either way, it had really strong continuation down. We're now at an uptrending level of support. So this momentum here, the pace of the buyers here, has been holding it up since $14.66. We delete that too. Let's pull a fixed range from here to here. Let's zoom in. So what I'll be waiting for is a long on AVAX. We got a little bit of time, but yeah, right around this zone here at 22.99. Pull a horizontal array here. Value area low. Get our value area high marked. And our point of control. Okay, so yeah, it's a waiting game on AVAX, but I would be waiting for longs. So we have the confluence of that uptrending macro momentum. We got the value area low. So I'll be, oh, where's my VWAP on this? There it is, okay. Oh, so it's way up here. That's fun. All right, we have a deviation of the value area, the VWAP. So if we keep aggressively coming down, and we have an opposing change of character down here, I would be targeting we'll be going trading into the VWAP. So that deviation could actually, think of this as like a tool for a confirmation of entry and a magnet, and bias control. So there's some people that will only do shorts if we're below the VWAP, which is a very fair rule. Some people will only jump into longs if we break the VWAP, kind of like this, right? If you have that as your confluence. And there's also a rule where this kind of acts like a magnet. So you can use it as a form of target if you deviate away from it. So around here, if we prepare for longs, we can trade into it, and we have to watch it as our core area of interest for a potential barrier along the way up to the value area high. So we have to watch that as we go down, potentially act as resistance. If it does, listen to it and take some profits. Like, you don't have to close your full position, but if you get an opposing change character off of it, I would be listening, because you might not have the opportunity to take profits again. And if we end up breaking through it, then you can start targeting that value area high. So I hope that helps you out, but that's AVAX. Yeah, mentally I would prepare for longs on this. And AVAX is known to give pretty good opportunities for those kind of longs. So yeah, just gotta wait a little bit. If we maintain the pace of this momentum right here, slightly evolving momentum. So if we maintain the pace of this, you'd expect to trade in roughly 4 hours from now. So yeah, that's AVAX. Virtual and XMR. Virtual. Okay, so virtual, yesterday, we took a short on it. We dipped into this previous supply concern here after having a pretty aggressive pump out of a rising wedge. And now we're coming down to kind of retest that rising wedge. We broke momentum here. And like, this would have been, if you didn't get out at these lows, because we were targeting here, right? A little bit lower than here. If you didn't get out here around these lows, your absolute warning sign to get out was the break of this momentum and the change character. So when you got this pullback, it was your opportunity to get out with a little bit more gains. When we came up and we got that break of structure, like, we confirmed a move that we would have taken normally. Like, this is an area where you prepare for potential longs after a change character occurrence, and it ran up extremely well towards the value area high. And now we're coming right back down again to retest this uptrending momentum. We could pull a separate valley area from, let's see, you got, this is all, okay, we can use this whole zone. Get our momentum. It looks like we're building a potential double bottom structure. Again, the necklines are flush with the valley area low. So if we do get that break, it doesn't look like there's very much volume backing behind it. When we pull up our volume indicator here, we want to see a break of the volume trend before thinking about anything. So whenever I say the words like, I want a break of the volume trend, look at your volume indicator here, and you could literally draw a downtrending level of resistance like this. So this is a form of confluence you could use in your trading. So if we end up breaking this to the upside, that tells us that there has been more interest in the asset than there has been since the moment the momentum began. So you can use this in confluence for your trades. If we simultaneously have a break in the volume trend, like creating a higher high, while also breaking like a neckline, for example, of a structure you're waiting for a potential position in, you can use that as confluence to tell you that there's more trade participants waking up the same time you're preparing for a trade, so that confluence can help support your trade, and knowing that like there's a higher probability that your target would be hit, right? So in this scenario, it's a relatively young double bottom structure, so that's why I kind of have a hard time trusting it. But if we do break it, it might be a short-lived pump to the momentum right here. So I just watch out for that. But yeah, you could prepare for the full rotation up, but just be real with yourself and knowing that there might be sellers like consistently buying, like selling at this downtrending point of interest. So they're constantly undercutting each other right now. So if they're still undercutting each other, like this is the current pace of those of sell orders. So I hope that helps you out with virtual. But yeah, big picture, it is kind of it's like an awkward spot right now. Like rising wedges don't normally break to the upside because of the nature of how they add liquidity, but it happens, so you got to prepare for it. But bigger picture stuff, like it is technically building like a descending channel that could induce a reversal or a continuation back up, sorry. So we'll see what happens there, but right now we might be able to front run that with what we were just looking at, like the lower time frame stuff. Everything starts at the lower time frames and works their way up, right? So okay, that 5-minute break, it could lead to the 15-minute break. The 15-minute break can lead to the hourly. Hourly can lead to the 4-hour, and so on and so forth. Just important that you know where those key levels are in each time frame, so you can, so you know, like basically when to prepare for those kind of continuations. And it helps a lot with holding and closing your trades. Bitcoin's still holding up. Okay, cool. You forgot cubic. Did I forget? Okay, let's yeah, we'll pull up cubic. We have a cubic chart. As much as I like the cubic as an asset, I don't like doing TA on it. It's just such a messy thing to look at when it comes to that kind of stuff. So here, we've got, yeah, the bottom structure, similar to what we saw with Bitcoin, but cubic actually had some relative strength. When Bitcoin had that crazy wick down, cubic was holding previous low and maintained its pace. Where like if it were Bitcoin, it would have came down here at least and pulled back all the way down here and then continued up. But no, it had a relative strength and was able to hold its position and would already hit the target that you would have in mind if you were to be trading this, right? So some relative strength on cubic, which is nice. I think alts kind of had like a slight wake up yesterday. We should probably look at the other dominants today too while we're on here together and see how that's developing. But it's at 7.91 right now, so it's still not technically in a good position. Okay. What are we dancing on right now? Oh, right, okay. Macro, value area, low, macro point of control. I need to update how I label that so I don't have to keep wondering. So MVAL and POC. Very cool. So we're trading against a macro point of control. Like we really want a higher high on cubic. If we get that higher high on cubic in larger time frames, it would look like a break of structure, form of acceptance into a macro value area from this value area low right here to potentially bring us to this macro value area high up here. But we do obviously have barrier concerns along the way up, so we can't just assume that we'll go straight there. But like we have a supply concern here that kicked our butt a couple times, and it's flush right now with the 200 EMA. So if we do get that strong continuation up. We have to watch this as a huge barrier along the way up. We got a 30-minute order block here. So I would check the order books and see if there's any residual orders in place there. And we also have the 30-minute confluence of the order block there too. Well, that's Cubic. Data issue on Cubic's chart right now. BNB and XRP. Okay, let's look at BNB first. BNB is one of those ones that it's not getting, like, no one talks about BNB, but it's one of the best performing network tokens in this cycle so far. It's been doing exactly what you'd want a token to do when the bull market began. We jumped in on this breakdown here, and it was like honestly a freaking killer trade, and we were targeting this macro point of control. A lot of people unfortunately exited here, but yeah, it was a pretty good trade. I did a spot hold on this. I did a futures trade to pretty much the top of this area here. But yeah, it's doing pretty darn good. We are right now trying to get acceptance back inside this valley area right here. And let's see what we're doing in lower time frames. Low time frames. Okay, so right here is where you'd right here we got that acceptance in the lower time frames, like the hourly. We got proper acceptance. This is barely proper acceptance, but we did get that brick of structure here. But shortly afterwards, got the double top and came right back down. So we have this momentum here that we want to hold up the price and hopefully help drive us to get back above this POC, so we could potentially get that rotation up to 731.53. There isn't very much volume from here to here, so if we do break this level, we could get that high volume move up. But yeah, if we lose the momentum first, then we're probably just going to come, we could actually lose this value area and come right back down to like 643.46. This is a previous value area high that's actually relatively strong. We used it as support here when we had built this flag continuation posture. So yeah, losing the momentum with the change of character could induce a move all the way back down here. But yeah, we're going to be mindful of this value area low along the way down as a key barrier. But yeah, so hopefully get that higher high. If you want to prepare for a short, there's a good SFP opportunity here. So you can mark, like this is the hourly time frame, so this is an hourly SFP level. It's your hourly body. And mark your wicks. Clone that. Oh, my bad. I don't know what's going wrong with my brain here. There we go. Just gonna mark another one. Yeah, so mark your wicks here. So in case we come up, grab that liquidity, close back inside of range, and then we can start targeting these lows. And that could be the front run to the change of character. The change of character and loss of momentum can bring us back down here. A break of this level would then likely bring us back down here. So take it in steps and just prepare at key levels. Set alarms to front run these areas of concern, and then see if we get the structural continuations during those times. But right now we're just sitting on our hands, like waiting for more structure for BNB. But macro picture wise, I have a lot of faith in BNB doing really well this cycle. I can see it getting to like $1,200. Okay, trying to catch up the chat here. Moose juice. That's exactly what a cubicator would say. I gotcha. All right, so we did B and B. Let's jump on to XRP. Let's see what XRP is doing. We just got that change character. So if we get a full body close below here on Bitcoin, guys, then we're very likely just going to rotate down to at least the VWAP and likely the value area low. So we might be forced out. So if you're still in that trade that we were in, like here, just watch out, because this is a big warning sign right here. Hopefully this candle closes back above, but like we still, even if the candle closes back above, we still technically got the change of character occurrence, but price acceptance is way more like likely to drive the price down than just a tap. You normally, if you get a change of character with a wick, you have a pullback first. Normally you don't break the previous high because it becomes the strong high, and then we come back down. What was the other process? XRP, right? Got sidetracked. So pulling up XRP. Yeah, we have an XRP chart. Last time we looked at it was 3 days ago. There's our short. Oh, we're still getting squeezed against this. That's crazy. All right, so XRP has been doing this awkward slow crawl against the momentum as support. So here's our evolving momentum. We have broad momentum here that's kind of held it down since $3.40. We just recently hit the Valerie high. So from that rotation there, like we had lots of confidence for a short there. And we took one after the loss of momentum and change of character occurrence on lower time frames. Right now we're looking at the 4-hour time frame. But we're building like a falling wedge structure. Well, let me just update this so it's a little easier to see. We can delete this. We know what's there. Okay. I guess these are kind of backwards. One sec. There we go. All right. We can update our fixed range. It's low, so I gotta find the anchor here. There we go. All right, so we hit our Valerie high. We came down to the POC, went range bound off the POC, extremely common, and then we're still kind of riding the pace of these buyers. So I'll be watching the order books to see if there are sellers still here, if there are buyers still here. Where are there more buyers? Where are there more sellers? That could help you with your bias. Where is there more liquidity, on the upside or the downside? Most likely to the upside, because we're in a descending channel right now. So we're taking liquidity every time it's added, right? It's all being taken. So the only liquidity that we have from here to here is right here. But we've been stacking more above us. It's right here without taking it. So statistically, that's why falling wedges break to the upside, because of the nature of the liquidity. So we look at these white lines here, visualize it like heat map, and actually we'll pull up a heat map right now. So we find the age of the structure from here to here, 18 hours. So we need to have a 24-hour heat map. Let's go here. Go back to, we'll just go to CoinGlass. Click on symbol, then type in XRP. And pull up the 24-hour. Yeah, so we have liquidity just in one spot down here. We had some stacking throughout the top of the structure here. So there's a lot more above us than there is below us. So if you're thinking like a market maker, you'd look at this for opportunities for your exiting positions or entering positions. And up here's a good spot where you would want to prepare for like exiting your position. So 233.6. 233.6 is where it all starts. So just below here. Right here, where that, okay, that's where the white line is, right here. So liquidity gets strong here and kind of stacks along the way up. The key level to watch for XRP right now is right here. That could change, like we could get a lower level, but it would require XRP to go lower. So we'd have to break this low. Let's say if we went straight down right now and we broke this low, then this would become our key level of interest. It would rotate from here to here. But right now it's right here. You can front run this level, of course, but I'm just letting you know that if you want to see a position of strength where a price action is very likely to get a stronger rotation up, this is a level that you want to have broken, like the confirmation level for that stronger continuation. Along that break, you're going to have to watch the POC along the way, but then you can start targeting the high again, where the liquidity basically ends. And up here, there could be an SFP opportunity. So that's XRP. I hope that helps you out, man. If we keep getting lower lows, like eventually we're going to get to an apex point where we're going to be forced to make a big move, either to the upside or the downside. But yeah, keep making those lower lows. Like we could break this to the downside and just come right back to down to the value area low instead. So make sure you don't just jump in because it's a bullish structure and the probability says it's likely to go up. Wait for it to confirm first. Because we just saw a rising wedge break to the upside on virtual. We can have a falling wedge do the same thing and break to the downside. Okay, I do gotta head out soon. 4 minutes left on this candle. That's not looking good. Okay. That was 18 days, you said? What? Oh, it was 18 days. Yeah, see, this is why I need sleep. All right, so that heat map is probably still accurate, but okay, 18 days. Yeah, looking at the 4-hour chart, I guess I was looking at the lower time frame, assumed it was hourly. Let's pull this up in the proper time frame then. 18 days, so we can't fit it in the 2 week, but we can fit it in the month. Explains why the chart looks so weird on XRP. Like this doesn't look like. There we go. Okay, it is all making sense now. But yeah, grab the liquidity from the downside here, right? All the stacking liquidity. Either way, we're right either way, but still, make sure you're doing it the right way. Pay attention to your stuff. But yeah, these local highs, we stack some liquidity above here. Quite a bit of liquidity on the second retest of the downtrending momentum, and it starts to get a little bit colder up here. So that kind of tells me that we might have enough liquidity for like a market maker to want to potentially make an exit around like $2.48 up to like $2.50. So going back on XRP, since we refined this a little bit more, looking at the proper time frame, we're basically where we have this red line for resistance, like local resistance. It's like a big key area where we might not break past that because of all the liquidity that's already there. It does get a little bit cold around here to here. So it might be a short-lived pump. And if we look at the confluence of that, right, if we break this level, we have uptrending momentum that we just broke. And one thing that's very common is a retest to that momentum. So if we do get the break, it might be short-lived, hits the momentum alongside the confluence of that local resistance, and then drives it right back down, which is a pain in the butt, but at least we we know that confluence now that we looked at the right time frame for the liquidity map. So thanks for that, man. How's Bitcoin looking? We have 2 minutes left on the 15-minute candle for Bitcoin. If this were to close, like we've already got the change of character, but if we get the price acceptance as well with a candle closure, then we're, like I said, likely going to rotate down to here. Yeah. Sleep is like a vacation. Just yesterday. Yeah. XMR and Ondo. Okay, I need to start closing down some tabs. We got too many tabs open. Just so you guys know, I'll be doing like a little test stream at like 3:30. Right now I use OBS for my streaming. I'm testing out StreamYard because StreamYard's gonna allow me to. I know I can technically do it on OBS, but OBS is just the customization of that. It's not that great. So I'm gonna be testing out StreamYard because I got some ideas that I'd like to do where I may be bringing on one of you guys into these lives once in a while. It might be the morning ones, but like we'll do like an afternoon one where you guys can jump in like one person at a time and ask questions in the live, and we can go through it together, kind of like a one-on-one coaching session, but for everyone to kind of learn from. XMR and Ondo. So let's pull up Ondo. Oh, XMR was probably first. Let's look at. Oh, we don't have an XMR chart. So zoom out. XMR, Monero, KuCoin. Some downtrending momentum. Getting squeezed against this little demand here. Let's zoom out. Where are we at? Oh yeah, right. I forgot we ran up like crazy with Ondo. Yeah, we hit that measurable target already. We're close to all-time highs for XMR. Kyle already knows he's not picking me because all we do is cubic. That's funny. I'm not sure how I'm going to do the selection process yet. I'll make sure it's fair. So it looks like the last thing we were looking at was this short up here. And we assumed a target of here. If you guys remember that. But yeah, we lost this uptrending momentum. So this area here was an area of confluence for a breakup momentum, change of character occurrence. Like double top, triple top actually, and then came down. And we would target where the liquidity basically ends, right? But we didn't slow down when we got there. We maybe had an hour of slight range-bound trading. We couldn't even really trade that. And then we plummeted even further down. We fell back down to this valley area here. We can delete that. We can delete this. This was the long level. So we can delete that. We don't need that anymore. And we can delete this too. But yeah, we're respecting this previous valley area data. Let's go update this a little bit. There we go. We got a valley area low right here. We kind of dipped down below it, deviated away from it a little bit. We had a double bottom for acceptance back inside of it. Let's update this really quick. And let's also add this here. Okay, so yeah, the previous value area high is basically the active point of control. Oh, this is messy, man. So like trying to trade this right now, I wouldn't touch it. But if we lose this support of the value area low, we could just rotate down to potentially get an SFP off here or an SFP here, preferably here, right? To grab all that newly added liquidity here. But yeah, I'll be preparing for longs at these lower levels. And it could induce a potential double bottom. So that could be the front run to a larger double bottom. So just prepare for this neckline here on larger time frames to be broken. If it does, then you got that stronger position that could rotate you back up to this local resistance here. Oh, I keep pressing. It's Alt J. I keep pressing Control J. Yeah, Alt J allows you to put down a horizontal ray. Yeah, we don't know yet for sure, but yeah, right now it's looking bearish. We're failing to create higher highs. We are stacking liquidity here. I'm hoping that we get that slow drop, add a ton of liquidity along the slow drop, and then get that rotation back up. So around here, like I said, prepare for SFPs. If we get the slow drop instead, which is what I prefer, because we kind of got that lack of let's see, yeah, we basically got poor volume, so it's like lack of I don't remember, I can't think right now, but yeah, basically we're struggling. All right, we're struggling and we can't get up. So if we have low volume turnaround, then we can prepare for a potential front run around here. But yeah, SFPs all around, and if we break this level, we'll have a position of strength for a stronger continuation. But yeah, all right, that's XMR. I hope that helps you out. Bitcoin, yeah, we just got the close below. So yeah, like I said before, if we got the close below this line, very likely to rotate to the the VWAP, potentially the value area low. We tapped the VWAP so far. Man, we have 10 minutes left in this candle. And we can come back down to the value area low. We might induce a reversal here. But yeah, right now it's looking really weak. HBAR and Ondo. We have to go over Ondo first. All right. Okay. So Ondo is still getting squeezed here. Still chilling. Okay. And man, Ondo likes to get squeezed, man. I know it's weird to say out loud, but it likes to range to the point where it's forced to have a breakout. Doesn't just like to do natural rotations or anything like that. But yeah, we have a Ondo right now, range bound. We just tapped the value area low recently. We've kind of failed to create that higher high. We have downtrending resistance here. So it looks like we're going to get squeezed into like this potential apex over here. Very likely not going to make it all the way there, because we usually don't in crypto land. But we could prepare for like an internal breakup momentum off this value area low and rotate back up. Unfortunately, like our key level for this structure is up here. way up here. If we get the lower low, we can rotate this to here. So it's not very helpful. Yeah, for me, I personally wouldn't be trading this. Yeah, for right now, you could potentially prepare for longs, but because of how like compressed it is, you might not be able to find a safe R&R setup. If we confirm this as resistance, the loss of support, like uptrending momentum, loss of the value area with this break of structure. We got a little bit of demand zone here. Yeah, there's nothing I'd want to touch here. But yeah, we are getting squeezed, so there should be a high volume event coming up soon. And the squeeze is likely a result of like algorithmic bots participating off the 200 and the 50 EMA. Like there's a lot of like trade participants that use these levels, and it always like convolutes the price action. But yeah, so hopefully that squeeze event breaks out soon, so we can start getting into a trend-based setup. So if we get closer and closer to this apex, we get that break of structure off like a value area high, for example. We could use that for a rotation up. Watch this local high along the way. And if we get that opposing change of character, we'll just use that to tell us to get out. Well, that could be the trend-based setup, but we have some time before that happens. Like between here and the apex, it's like 5 days. So and now here we go. Come back down. Listen to your warning signs. Like that this is what I look for when I'm looking for a potential exit, and if I feel like I need to exit early, it's that opposing change of character against key levels of interest like this. And when that candle closed, that was like a big warning sign to potentially exit your short or your longs like early, because then you got to think like we're now internally in a downtrend, and we can start coming down and attack your potential your stop loss. Buyers seem careful. Could it be because of this talk of retracement after the Bitcoin conference? The news and stuff like that usually add volatility, unless it's like something that actually goes has a fundamental impact over the asset. We have jobs come out today too, which might have a bullish impact over the DXY, which would have an inverse impact over Bitcoin that causes it to be bearish short term. But jobs normally has like a 1 to 3 day impact on the price, and then it starts to stabilize again. But sometimes it's only like an hourly impact. Zoom call today? ? I don't think so. We have a call today. Is Thursday, so we have Lucas's call today on market structure, but I don't have anything lined up myself for calls, other than I got a coaching call, and I'll be doing a live around 3:30 to test out some stuff. HBAR and TRB. We did TRB first. Like right after we did our initial analysis on Bitcoin, we went straight to TRB. So if you need TRB, I'd check out that. HBAR we haven't done yet. Last time I looked at it was on the 27th. We were looking for an SFP opportunity last time, right up here, because we had the confluence of the value area high. We had a key area of interest here for a potential SFP on the 15-minute. We wanted it to come up and sweep that liquidity, but it looks like it was being a butthead and didn't grab that, so it might have kept you out if you didn't take it. Down here, And we did grab this newly added liquidity here on this candle. So some people might have taken action on this candle for a short. Put your stop loss here. And then you target this low as a core area of interest for like a potential barrier. But if that low were to, well, if this low here were to break, then yeah, you prepare for a stronger move down. We have that POC alignment. So yeah, you definitely want to have that broken. And then we get that rotation down to the value area low. We're back at the value area low now. Once this updates, you'll see. We got the downtrending momentum right here. So we just need more structure to define a potential reversal, just like this. We got a ascending double bottom, change character currents, target the value area high, right? If we get something similar, it seems to be the trend, right? We only had, yeah, we had descending double bottom here, ascending double bottom here, another descending double bottom here. If we're going off that pattern, maybe we'll have an ascending one here. So here, prepare for potential change of character currents, acceptance into the value area, break of momentum, and then we can target the value area high. And of course, be mindful of the POC. This POC is actually pretty decent. So yeah, definitely watch the POC around 18,599. But no key levels yet to prepare for that long. Right now, our key level is way up here, so it's not really something you trade. So we need to have more structure first. So once we get a pullback of 2 candles and a lower low, we'd have a new key level that we could watch for that potential long. So that's all we need. It's just that two pullback of 2 candles, lower low, then we'll have a good form of structure to watch for that reversal. So that's HBAR. So it's a little bit of a waiting game. Probably about 4 or 5 hours before you get some structure that you could use for that long. HBAR looks horrible. It's inside of a range internally, so it's looking okay. Other than the fact that it lost, like, the macro thing that I don't like is the fact that it lost momentum here. But we're still in that descending channel and constantly stacking more and more liquidity above us. So we're in a structure that is biased to break to the upside, but while it's active, it's bearish. So we're just constantly in a downtrend until it confirms that reversal. And they're a pain in the butt because, especially if they don't have like a solid, strong apex point, they can descend for quite a bit of time. And this one's been in a downtrend for 17 days so far. And we delete that. That was the last short that we had. And we can delete. Oh, we could delete that, or we can keep it. You can still, yeah, you still technically keep this. It's an hourly level, so we're watching. So if we come back up here, we can prepare for our legacy SFP. All right, cool. That's HBAR. Hope that helps you out. Just a little time that we need. TP2 hit. The bot took a short trade and hit TP1 already. TP2 hit. Nice. I wonder if it took the short at the same time we were talking about watch out for the reversal. For those of you who don't know, we're kind of developing an automated trading system that kind of has my brain built into it. It listens to all the same rules that I've got. So it jumped in on a short here and already hit its TP1 and TP2. And so now what it's doing with the remaining meta positioning, it will hold still about 25% for like a moon bag with a trailing stop loss. So it's going to trail this until it gets stopped out, kind of thing. Right, cool. Bullish NVIDIA. Bullish Judge blocks tariffs and we chop. Maybe. Yeah, NVIDIA closed bullish yesterday. The earnings report came out last night for NVIDIA, so AI tokens might be doing well. We're looking at virtuals, one of the ones that you'd want to watch for that, but not that crazy of an impact other than this pump up here when the report came out, because it came out around 5:30 p.m., right? And yeah, got a bullish response to that. Had a decent move up. So like short-lived move, but anyone who might have been watching the AI sector probably did really well last night. Is your trading bot available for others? Not yet. It's been in the works since like 2023, but it's not available just yet. We'll let you guys know. If you're new, I recommend sticking with Bitcoin or higher liquidity assets. Yeah, altcoin Corey is right. If you're new to trading, just pick like the top 10 market cap assets, because they will respect market structure way more. And like you'll learn over time which assets you shouldn't trade and which ones you should invest in. Like there's a difference between trading and investing, obviously. So just, yeah, make sure you pick the higher market cap stuff where you're learning how to trade, so you're not getting your butt kicked trying to figure this stuff out. ZBCN. I wonder who requested that. Let's take a look. I should probably have a chart for ZBCN, so I look at it so often now. So OKX. What are we looking at for ZBCN? Just this little miniature pennant here. I didn't draw any key levels. Well, looking good though. Yeah, so we were looking at this reversal structure here. Well, it's not a reversal structure, but we were looking at the possibility of it breaking to the upside. Where would it go? These typically do break to the downside. But yeah, we got that break to the upside above the VWAP. Hit the measurable target of the structure itself, but you could have your extended target to this local high. Broke past that too. Got out of the valley area very shortly after getting into it. Yeah. Use the valley area as support. Got that break structure continuation. This thing's on a tear. Yeah, it's doing good. Zoom out. That's wild. And the tweezer reaction on the daily. So based on this chart, it is in price discovery right now. So when you're in price discovery, the order books become extremely important. Like understanding like where are people preparing for a sell-off, right? And you'll notice when we're in price discovery like this, that the sell walls, where a large amount of sell orders would be, is based on psychological levels. And if you want to see psychological levels, they're basically rounded numbers, but most people actually turn off their psychological levels when they edit their trading view chart. So under here, you want to go to grid lines and turn on your horizontal lines, and you'll see your psychological levels a lot easier. These will always be at rounded numbers, these horizontal lines here. You can see we got a rejection off of one here. A rejection off of one here. So these levels become a lot more important when we're in price discovery in areas where it's never been before, basically. But you want to validate it with the order books, like find out if there are sellers there. And then the main thing you'll be watching along the way up is what's being formed down here. And we got a little miniature value area here. So you'll be watching this if we have like a change of character, for example, as a potential area of support. People hate trading in price discovery, but what you're basically looking for is the short opportunity, because the long opportunities have came and went most of the time. You don't want to be buying into this unless you're just trying to get into a scalp, like from like maybe like from like a 618 pullback to like a local high kind of thing. But yeah, nothing we can take action on, man. Congrats if you're in on, I think you were talking about going in on long. So congrats if you're still in on that. But yeah, if we get that, I'll watch maybe the 15-minute time frame. Maybe the 5 if there's a lot of volume. And wait for that opposing change of character. And maybe we'll just keep on getting that brick structure higher highs. So congrats on that, man. Decent bounce right now on the value area low. So with Bitcoin today, you'll probably be getting a long signal from me again. But then we have to watch and take this a lot more seriously. We didn't have enough volume to break through it. We got front run against it. So yeah, here we'll wait for some structure to define a reversal back up. We'll watch these local highs. We will treat the R&R as if we're targeting this level. We won't be targeting the value high this time. Because if the R&R is not enough to break it, then I'm probably not going to take it. What about Orca? Orca, I was looking at their exchange yesterday. I was curious about their liquidity pools. This is anyone who's not familiar with DEX. DEX is stands for decentralized exchange. And it's, if my screen would load, I got too much virtual memory being taken up from these charts. I should try to have it so I only have 3 charts open at a time or something like that. If I'm gonna have 500 tabs. There's one little, I think there's a pool in here that I was interested in potentially investing into. Where is it? I like that it shows you the yield for every 24 hours instead of the APR for the year. So you know exactly what you're making per day on your holdings. I think it was a stablecoin pair that I was interested in. But yeah, if you're good at range trading and you understand value area concepts, it's really good to invest in pools like this. And you take the funds out when you're out of a range, put the funds in when you're in a range. So you don't have to worry about impermanent loss. And if you don't want to learn about impermanent loss, then I'd recommend just focusing on stablecoin pairs like USDT to USDC. You'll get a lot lower APR, but there's a 1 point. That's SPX, eh? Okay. That's cool. Orca on the charts. I don't think I have an Orca chart, but we'll take a look. We don't, but we can look it up here. We'll watch it on Binance. When's the last time we looked at this thing? Recently. I don't remember talking about it. 3 days ago. I'm looking at too many assets. It's all starting to bleed together. It wasn't the long. We were looking at the support for this key level on the 26th. If broken, it would come back down to the value area low. We kind of tap the value area low. Held support off the 50-day EMA. So it would have been a short-lived short, no pun intended. But yeah, it would come down, hit that, and then immediately start to come back up. And we're now at the value area high, where you prepare for potential shorts. But structurally, we are trying to get the confirmation off of this formation here. So we got the squeeze event from the downtrending momentum to the uptrending support, right? And if we get that proper acceptance above this previous high here, right now we're wicking against it. If we got a full body close up here, then that would be a confirmation off the formation. So that's all it's kind of lacking for a potential return back up. But we are in an area of confluence for shorts. So it's kind of, if this happens, don't take the short, basically, right? If we get an hourly body close above $3.07 or to just be safe, $3.08. If we get an hourly close there, then we're very likely to get a stronger rotation up and potentially leaving this valley area. Formations like this are a warning sign that we're going to be leaving a range. So the more you learn about this, the more you're going to be able to prepare for when you shouldn't be range trading and should be preparing for a trend-based move like this. So we're really close to confirming a trend-based move, and if we do, then we can target up here and watch out for liquidity above this wick. We've already grabbed the liquidity already from here. We're seeing warning signs that it could be being used as exit liquidity from big players. So we got to wait for that confirmation first. If we don't, then we're not going to come up here. Go back down to the 15-minute. We'll see what we have. Awkward. So we got a 15-minute change of character occurrence. We're losing the VWAP. If we get acceptance in the valley area, then we could likely come down to the valley area low again. But we have to be mindful again of the point of control along the way. But I'm hopeful for that hourly confirmation for anyone who's an Orca holder. And this is the current momentum that I would watch here. We already got the change of character. If we break momentum, get that retest to the valley high, watch out for a rotation back down. So we got two things to prepare for. I don't know why I deleted that. Can leave that on there for you guys. There we go. All right, so 30-minute SFP possible. 30-minute down here. It's possible, but you are asking for quite a bit. Based on the current structure, it's definitely could be tricky because all we have is this body level to confirm the range. So if we were looking for an SFP based on what we currently have, we need price action to come down, sweep that liquidity, and close back up here. But if we could go range bound here for a little bit, sweep that, then close back inside the range, and that would be a little bit more, a little safer play for that kind of SFP. But definitely possible, either here or off here. And we are watching hourly levels too. So this is the hourly bodies here. We could get an hourly SFP off these lows too. The hourly looks a lot more clean for me. We have potential here for a legacy SFP, right? Sweep, close back inside. Or here, sweep, close back inside the range. So if you're going to pick a time frame for an SFP, maybe look at the hourly. Unless we get more structure on that 30-minute, then I would take that too. Okay, so Sophia's saying you have a big long order limit between 105 and 104. Do you think this is a good place? Well, at 106.3 is a big area of confluence for potential longs. We got previous resistance here, we got previous support here, but the big thing that makes it important is the fact that it's the start of a wall of about $1 billion of worth of liquidity. So you have the right idea to prepare for a long there, but I don't like that you're trying to do it with a limit order. Limit orders are great after things confirm. Let's say you have rules that define an entry. Like for example, when I want to jump in a long, I want to break a momentum, I want to change a character, I want acceptance into the value area. And even better, if we get a break above the VWAP in confluence with that. You need to have a set of rules for when A, B, C, and D happen, you jump into a long. When you want to jump in on a limit order, after all your rules are met, you can limit order in, for example, on like the 618 after it kind of retraces. But you don't want to limit order in just because it's an area of interest, because what could end up happening is just because there's liquidity here that could be used as buy-side liquidity, it could also be used as sell-side liquidity to induce a drop even further down. So you have a good area of confluence in mind, but it scares me that you're preparing with a limit order, because it's like trying to catch the knife, and it can enter into a trade and just maintain a downtrend. So yeah, just trade safe. I prefer you to set an alarm there instead and wait for a position of strength and then limit order in on like a retrace. AVAX is in trading area you marked earlier, ready for a long on change character. AVAX. Yes, yeah, we're there. So here we're in a good spot to prepare for longs. That all you need to wait for is that change of character. I prefer you to use the 15-minute, but if you can dissect things in the 5-minute, that's cool. It all depends on what you're using for your rules. But if you're using my rules and the clairvoyant strategy, then I prefer you use the 15. Your win rate will drop if you start using the 5, but the 5 is still viable if we have lots of volume coming in. Bitcoin seems to hold. Oh yeah, we don't have very much. Yeah, it's just right now it actually looks bad. Bitcoin looks worse. If you look at this on the 15-minute, we came down, we broke below the value area low. We got a doji response against the value area low, negatively, with more of a sell shadow wick. So we're on lower time frames. This will look like on the 3-minute. We have yet to confirm. We got a pullback, but we're just yet to confirm the break of structure for continuation. So whenever you see a doji on any time frame, or at least the higher time frames, you can dissect it, and you can almost always know that before you even zoom in, that this is a partial, incomplete confirmation. So it's that indecision point. That's why they talk about dojis being a form of indecision. It's that indecision point right before confirmation or a reversal. And so looking at the 15-minute, for example, seeing this doji response, we can see that we came up, we came back down, and we're just one candle away from confirming a lower low. And we came up. And this is why it's indecision, right? Because if we come back up instead of breaking that lower low, we're likely to build a double bottom to reverse. But if we get the lower low, our probability of continuing is higher. If you see a doji on the daily, you definitely want to zoom in on that. We have a coach named David. His coaching calls tomorrow at 8. But he calls them like doji sandwiches, because normally when you see them, you're very shortly, you might be able to eat soon, basically. Because the next candle or the internal price action is really close to giving you that confirmation. But we're about to get that lower low. So here, whenever you see a doji right above or below a key level, you can assume that it is very close to confirming a continuation, or trying to hold. It's trying to confirm it as resistance or support. So right now we're trying to confirm it potentially as resistance. If we had a doji here, it's trying to potentially confirm it as support. Money flow across to the downside on the 15. Yeah, RSI is not looking good either. We're dipping down below the 30 level. So we're just going to wait for more structure. But we're in an area technically where we prepare for longs. We're in the demand zone, right? We're in the area of where we prepare for those longs. So we could get that hourly SFP, we can get the 30-minute SFP, we can get a change of character occurrence. Yeah, there we go. We got that drop. So the low time frames, this is what we see as acts as a break of structure, right? Come up, retest. We got the lower low. So we confirm the value area as resistance on the 3-minute. On the 5, almost. We just don't have a proper pullback. Chill Guy and ADA. I've got a red dot printed on the 15-minute. Jesse. A red dot. Okay, so you're talking about Market Cipher. I got you, man. Yeah, you definitely got to prepare for those reversals soon. Let's pull up, what is it? Chill Guy? What's the one crest? I don't think we have a Chill Guy chart. No. We have an ADA chart, so I'll look at Cardano first. Okay, so, oh yeah, Cardano did that awkward run up. We had the descending broadening wedge here. When they're descending like this, they are more bullish, but their measurable target is very lame. Like where we normally anticipate resistance is roughly at the top of the structure. But yeah, we ended up breaking past that. We got the support bounce. We're on the hourly, so on the time frame like the 15-minute, this will look like a confirmation of support, the break of structure, and it defined that continuation to the value area high. As soon as we hit that value area high, we plummeted right back down. This is a high VPR interest level, the macro. So we're kind of in a core level where we want to hold this. We have this uptrending momentum that's been holding it up since 51 cents. We are very close to losing it. After getting rejected off this interest level here, let me just change the orientation of that. I'm bringing this to middle, to the right. There. Now it's not in our face. Let's pull a fixed range from here to here. Once it wants to load, there we go. So I'm not counting on it, but Cardano is kind of a slippery fish. So if we can zoom in on the 15. So in this range, local to this range, we're in a bullish location. Okay. If we don't get the change of character occurrence and acceptance into this value area again, we could prepare for resistance off this momentum, right? Or if we get the break structure for continuation down, similar to kind of what we saw here before this value area was like fully established. If we got something like this happen right here in the current state that Cardano is in, we could spark a more of a longer term downtrend. So we don't want to lose this level. If we instead get that change of character, break of momentum, acceptance to the value area, we can start targeting these highs again. But we're in a really cautious spot right now. We could fall down to this previous value area high and then get acceptance to the value area at around 72 cents and then rotate down to 69 cents right here. So we're in a really bad spot. We got to hopefully get acceptance back to that value area and rotate back up or else basically. Yeah. Value area low. There we go. Yeah, so Cardano's in a make it or break it moment right now. Going back up to Bitcoin's chart. Chill Guy was the other request. Let me get rid of some of my tabs because I've probably added about 10 since we've been in here. There we go. That's a little better. Oh, I just rotated the Bitcoin chart on my Cardano chart. Oh, a sec here. Just gotta fix that. Where's my ADA? I can worry about that later. I'm assuming it's on the Binance. Yeah, it is. Okay. Cool. Chill guy. What we have here. So chill guy. We've got this is the perpetuals. We see if we can find something that's not perpetual. There we go. All right, so last time we looked at chill guy, we were looking at this level here for a short. However, there could have been opportunities to get that broken much sooner. So I'm guessing this is just like the last time we looked at it was when price action was roughly around here. And even though this line may have served you well, if you trade this for shorts, you could have had much better opportunity shorting up here. Because up here we had acceptance to a previous value area low, and we hit that value area high. We hit resistance. On the 15-minute time frame, we built an SFP, like a local SFP. If we zoom in, you can see what I'm talking about. It was the best opportunity for a short on chill guy was here. When we came up, grabbed that liquidity from this wick with this one here, but closed back inside the active range. Put your stop loss here, and you target this low as your primary barrier. When breaking that barrier, we got the change of character occurrence, allowing you to stay in for a continuation. Like that R&R would be insane. Obviously, that we have the benefit of hindsight right now, but if I were to see this and I was looking at the chart at a value area high and seeing that, yeah, I would have aped right into that trade. So on this candle, your R&R would have been 1 to 3.6. So if you're risking to lose $100, you would have made $369. If you held it until we got the opposing change of character, it wasn't until way down right here. It's crazy. It's one of those scenarios where you could have held the trade thinking that you would make $300 and actually make $990. It's nuts. But now let's look at the active price action. Just delete this. We're got a big macro value area here. Just deleting some of the noise. I'm gonna mark this whole zone from here to here. Let's look left over here for a second. Let's see if there's any. Zoom out on the hourly. Yeah, so we're in an area of demand. I just want to see, yeah, kind of like everything else, I would like to see price action develop a little further, build some structure, define a change of character occurrence. It looks like based on like Chill Guy's price action, if you get in on a move, like you could, like a lot of the times it's relatively long term. So what you prepare for potentially with your range bound trades, they tend to turn into like a lot of like trend bound moves, so you can actually hold your trades for quite a bit of time. So you could be, if you're patient with chill guy, if you're a chill guy while trading chill guy, you can make quite a bit of money on this thing. So I might add this to my list for like assets that I trade, just because the structure, I really like the structure. But yeah, we want to look for an opposing change of character, acceptance of the value area, break of momentum, and we can start targeting the value area high again. So it's positioned itself for longs right now. We just got to wait for that confirmation structure first. It's looking good. We should have quite a bit of liquidity like stacked through here. So we can prepare for that reversal relatively soon. Is it just me, or has the markets been weird since Trump? Oh, it's not just you. No. There's just been like a lot of... So yeah, what you should be doing is you should be following Trump and what his speeches are about, because we don't just have to worry about FOMC meetings anymore, right? Like back in the day before Trump, we would want to monitor like the economic data, like FOMC meetings, the unemployment, the CPI data, stuff like that. That was our only like primary concerns, other than like regulatory news, right? Now we got to worry about these crypto summits that he's trying to do or stuff like that. And because he's like speaking to millions of people and talking about crypto all the time, every time he does it, it'll create a volatile event. So be aware of when he's speaking, because it could impact your trade setup and any of your active trades. And it could be a little bit wonky and weird. It's so exhausting trying to keep up with Trump. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. He's a loud dude, so I get you. Well, guys, I gotta head out. Again, we're mostly preparing for longs on a majority of the assets that we looked at. Because of Bitcoin's positioning, I would not be picking assets that look like they should be preparing for shorts. So pick your assets based on basically the confluence of what you think Bitcoin is going to do. The majority of assets are positioned at their value area lows. Yeah, almost all of them are. Oh, Virtual just had a rough break. It's getting acceptance back inside that rising wedge. So yeah, just be see which assets are holding their levels and not just getting their butts kicked. Like HBAR is doing well. So if they're holding at their value area lows and Bitcoin begins to reverse with the change of character occurrence, like use that confluence alongside any altcoins you might be trading. Like go over here to the left-hand side where you'd find your chart. Click on your layout and like make sure you have like 2 charts open like this. One with like Bitcoin and one with the asset that you're trading that correlates well with Bitcoin. So that way you can watch them both simultaneously and it doesn't, it's not, you're not having a whole bunch of tabs trying to keep track of everything. All right, guys, you have yourself an amazing day. Reach out to me in the Discord if you need help with anything. Yeah, Nothing Burger Summits from Wagner there, yeah. And then his dinner, he was serving nothing burgers. So it's nuts. But anyways, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Reach out to me in Discord if you need help with anything. I will give you guys a signal if I can find anything that's safe to jump into. But yeah, we just got to wait for that structure first, and then we can find something there. Yeah, have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you are interested in learning more. And yeah, I promise I'll keep doing my best to give you guys as much data as I can on the markets. See you guys.